you actually get into the Champions League despite the horrible season you've been having.
That's
and
crazy.
for the owners,
end up in Champions League finish.
for the owners, that must be absolutely huge because we know the financial implications of that. But the question is, can Big Ange win the Europa League? Can you win it with him? This is the question that you have to ask. I'm just putting all banter aside now. The question that the owners and the fans need to ask themselves is, can Ange win the Europa League? And if you feel he's not the guy capable of winning that, surely he has to go.
Right. Well, do I back Ange more than Ryan Mason? Yeah, I do.
I don't think that was the question.
Well, I think
that's a completely different question.
It's not, because if you sack Ange, the person that will be in charge is Ryan Mason.
How do you know?
No.
Shouldn't they?
You're gonna go get Areola out of Bournemouth this season when not a chance.
No.
And honestly, like I've said before, stay where you are, mate. Don't ruin your career. Stay where you are. Stay. Okay? Stay where you are. Anyway.
Don't go, yeah.
I will ride out for this man, okay?
Even if he won't
I'll
win.
ride out. He might not. What's the difference between all other managers other than one day Ramos? No manager wins things. Pep could come, Klopp could come. Nothing would ever change. We won't win. Ancelotti could come. We won't win anything.
Giving up.
Why are you backing him? Like what? Like
I
need to
backing
understand
him?
why in your mentality you're going right. This is the right manager, and I like him. I'm going to back him.
No. I didn't necessarily say he was the right manager.
Okay.
I didn't say he was the right manager.
Go on.
I feel like there are obviously things that he can be accountable for sure. Like we have been also shit at times with a full strength squad, and I always said back in the last season, if things continue the way they are, he will get sacked, and he still might get sacked. Who knows? However, what I would say is it's been a very, very difficult season. Everything he said yesterday in the presser after the game was correct and right. 13 players, a full squad basically of players is missing. You are asking teenagers, an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old, two 19-year-olds and a 21-year-old that's just come over from Prague and gone straight into the deep end to start these games. Someone like Tel, someone like Danso, whatever, coming straight in. It's not the young players that are letting this down, just to let you know. It's the senior players like Basuma, who I also said shouldn't have been there anymore, should have upgraded in the summer. There are things going on that are bigger than Ange, and that's why I'm still Ange in, because I think the option of having a Ryan Mason until the end of the season doesn't have any remote benefit. The players are going to start to come back in the next couple of weeks. I think they're getting a few back, I think this week, maybe in time for the United game Sunday. This is the first week in I don't even know how many months we haven't had a midweek game, so it actually allows some rest. You can see they are so tired. There is so much fatigue because there is no rotation. It is the same players that are playing every 3 days. They're young players, and I've said it so many times. This is not a team that is not playing for Ange. At the minute, obviously, we've gone quite far away from the Ange way and how we want to play football. And he made a very good point. They're tired. They can't press to the levels. They're not operating at the same levels that anyone would want them to operate at because they're tired. They're human beings at the end of the day. And it's a very high intensity game against, going to Anfield or going to Villa. These are not easy games. And you've got the injuries on top of that. I'm not saying he's not blameless. I'm not saying he's going to be the Messiah and change things at Spurs. I'm not saying that. I don't know whoever could do that. Pochettino's the only one that's probably ever come close, and he got sacked. And we still see the repercussions of that six years later. So I'm not saying I will ride out for him forever, but based on this right now, until the players come back, when they come back, if we're still stinking up the joint, which we might still do, then I will say, okay, I'm off the M1. We'll call it a day.
If all the players are back,
yeah,
right, Van der Ven, Solanke, all those guys, would you still back Ange to win the Europa League?
I would give him more of a chance. I mean, obviously, when
would you back him to win?
You're asking me to back my team to win a trophy. You're asking me a team I've seen them win one trophy my whole lifetime. So no, I don't back anyone to win anything because I know what Spurs are. Doesn't matter if it's Ange.
You're asking to do something that's unprecedented.
It literally is.
I've never seen this before.
Matisse, this is the thing, right?
And
I want to ask all you guys. I want to ask you all you guys a question, right? Because this is what it's going to boil down to save his job. Not him to say, you know how these owners operate at Tottenham, at most clubs, right? They want to be in that Champions League next season. The financial implications of not being in it, we as fans, we trophies, but those guys, that's what they want, yeah? Especially someone like a Levy, and that's what they're going to be looking at. Do they go with Ange, if because you've got players coming back? Do they go with Ange that he could win it, or do you say to yourself, actually, let me go and get someone better to give us a better chance of winning it?
I'm sorry, Right.
What do you guys think? Well, I'm asking.
I have seen every type of manager come through this door. I've seen serial winners. I've seen project managers. I've seen shit managers. I've seen every type of manager you could possibly think of. That's there on the spectrum. So for me, what do you want to do? Give it to when we had Cellini, Conte's number 2. I've seen everything. I've really had
no, she's not lying.
Every selection. I don't think anybody is really capable of winning a trophy. I can't say confidently anyone would do it.
You're finished.
But what I'm saying is I would definitely back Ange to do it more than I would Ryan Mason, which will be the option.
Basically,
I think in the
you're
summer,
unsalvageable.
in the summer, do what you want. Don't care. But at the minute, I saw what Fuad said last night on FCM. He said, I've checked out. I fell asleep. I've been so jet lagged. I literally am not even really watching.
So is that what's talking now then?
The jet lag?
And all of that.
The check out.
Yeah, like just checking out. Like, so you're not,
I've seen this cycle.
Rhyme or reason's kind of gone. It's more just like.
Pain?
Yeah, just pain. I'm done with it.
We're like your therapy group right now.
I've seen it happen for 31 years, boys. Like, what are we going to do? Sack Ange, get Ryan Mason in, get the players back. They have a little bit of a bounce because we finally got some players after 2.5 months out. Get to the summer, get a new manager. We have a new manager bounce. And then fast forward to 18 months' time, I'll sit here. What's the date? 9th of Feb in 2027. And I'll say, he's got to go. He's not getting the best out of the players. I've seen it. Run the tapes back from Conte. Run the tapes back from Nuno. He did have a terrible end to the season.
With those players.
Yeah, but we also have... Yes, and I said that before.
It's been a long time
but
since
what I
he's
would
done
say
anything.
is if you have a look at the start of November, I think Spurs, when just at the time when everyone was starting to get injured, Spurs was 6th, but I think 2 or 3 points off of 3rd. So that was with players. Yes, we're going to lose games. You lose games. You lose games.
We've had
you
a lot
lose
of
games.
injuries.
You lose
mad,
games.
right?
But I'm saying the extent, you had it last season. You had so many injuries last season. Spurs have had 13 first-team players out. You have been
injuries,
you had another 40 more, bro.
Piling on.
Piling on. Everything will come back.
And it was very tough to deal with. It was
and you won a trophy.
And
let me tell you.
Those injuries.
Let me tell you. If by some miracle,
it can't be done. It can't be done with injuries.
If by some miracle,
you don't win anything with injuries.
Win a Europa League, you will all give me the biggest apologies ever if we do go and win that. If we do.
Can we stop this?
If we do.
You're not going to win the Europa
another
League.
season, won't it?
Abbi,
You're not going to win the Europa
League. I know
League.
you had injuries, right? But again,
have. Present tense.
No, because you're talking about like we had injuries last year.
Yeah, you did. And absolutely. I think it was a great season.
And it was horrible. But if you're good enough or it's within your DNA, you can still find a way. Which is why she's right.
It's not in the DNA. That's why
I have a
it's not
perfect
on
example
hand.
of this, right?
Yeah.
So I always think of Tottenham fans and Everton fans alike, right? The pair of them don't win anything, they're crap, yeah? But Everton fans, if I say to you, you're going to win something this year, mate, he'll go, yeah, lad, we're winning, we're Everton, aren't we? That's what they'll do. But when you speak to a Spurs fan,
they're delusional.
They're like a deflated balloon, they've got nothing there, they know they're not going to win, and they accept it. And I feel so sorry for them. I actually do. I'm starting to feel pain for them. I'm so sorry. Remember, actual pity though.
Last year when you won the League Cup,
Yeah.
That was pure kids playing in
Yeah, it was. They were all 17.
It's the DNA of the club. It's the mentality. It's leaders.
So then wait.
Spurs don't have any leaders. Son, I love you. I'm sorry to say this, right?
It's the DNA.
Yeah, that's it.
Who does the DNA
Who set the DNA?
Who sets the DNA of the club?
You?
And the mentality? No.
Yes, the fans.
From the board.
The fans say.
You can relate. The
No.
Kroenkes, Arsenal.
The fans
It's the
Why aren't you winning
protest.
Premier League?
The fans
Why aren't you winning
protest and set the
Champions
vibe.
They
The
are.
DNA of the club. This is the problem.
The DNA.
Why haven't you signed a striker on
It's the DNA.
Transfer Daily?
Behave
Why haven't you
yourself,
signed Sesko?
Behave
Why haven't you
yourself,
signed all these
Behave
players that
yourself.
you were
This
linked
guy-
to? Because of the DNA!
You know
Why
this
haven't
guy-
you won a trophy since
You know what-
2020,
you know
but you're
what-
still chatting
he's
patty on this table?
You know what
Because
I
of
love
the
about it?
DNA!
I love it. The real Chelsea's coming out now. They're losing it, man. They're going back to how they used to be before the money came in, right?
Before the money came in, we won cups.
Right, I see.
Di Matteo
That's
scored
why he's
against
wearing red.
Middlesbrough. We can't even beat Brighton.
You're wearing the
We're
red.
worse than when we had Ken Bates.
He's having a go.
This is
He
worse.
lost his
He
man.
just slagged us
We
off for
talk
not
about
signing
Roman.
us.
Shout out
We won a
Peter Kenyon
Super
and
Cup
them.
against Real Madrid. We're worse.
People keep an eye on him. Yeah? Call the
I'm gonna go back to the
Samaritans.
fucking room.
Keep an eye on him, man.
So I'm going back to the room.
He's losing it.
He's
That's what I've enjoyed this week, chilling. Right? Anyway, going back to
I was just going to finish just to say the DNA doesn't come from the fans buy into the DNA of the club, or unfortunately if you've been selected to be a Spurs fan and you have to support the club, it is what it is. Right? The DNA comes from the top down. It's the expectation the club sets. It's not.